About social media and how I've won and how my clients have won with social media. So I'm super fired up today. I'm a little bit on edge, so be prepared for that. And just a reminder: the Relevant Recruiter Show is really focused on sharing stories with recruiting professionals and their success. Obviously, that's not today's show, and it's also about providing value about all things marketing, lead generation, AI when it comes to the recruiting agency. So my name is Donnie Gupton. I'm the host of the show. And if you guys are with me live, go into the comments right now. Let me know where you're at in the world. And let me know if you are actively participating in the social media game right now. So I'm going to get into my story of how I've had success with social media and where this all came back from. So back in 2007, I was working with my dad. We were partners, and we owned a floor covering company in the San Francisco Bay Area. And obviously 2008 was when the big recession hit. Well, we had just committed ourselves to being the number one, and this is hilarious when I talk about the number one page on the Yellow Pages. Okay, that was our goal. Was we wanted to be the first ranked company on Yellow Pages. How many of you guys have advertised in Yellow Pages yourself? And so when that happened, we couldn't get out of the contract, and then the economy dipped. And guess what? We were like most other companies, just holding on for dear life. So it became an effort game for me. And I was following a gentleman named Gary Vaynerchuk, also known as Gary V, when he started his first YouTube channel called Wine Library TV. And I just duplicated that. And I turned my YouTube channel into Flooring My Life TV. And that's where my journey really got started. So I started consistently creating YouTube videos on a weekly basis. And, fast forward, we came out of the recession capturing a massive amount of market share. And our business grew from under $1 million company to over a $6 million company in a short 3-year span, just by committing to YouTube. And then we took those strategies to Facebook. And this is right when these, things really started to come out with social media, was back, in the early 2000s, right? I don't know if it could be in the mid 2000s, 2000, before 2010, right? A lot of these companies were coming up. So, that's where I started to get my success on social media, was just consistently showing up every day on YouTube. Well, after growing my dad's business, I realized that I really didn't have a massive passion for the floor covering industry. So what I did is I was working with a coach at the time, and I started talking to a coach, and I was like, yeah, that's exactly what I wanted to do. So I went out and started my coaching business, naturally going for other kind of home improvement type companies. And while doing that, I met a lady in recruitment, and the rest is history. And so I've built my strategies now specifically for recruiting agencies. Now, if you're listening with me live, let me know what your story is. Go ahead and tap the like button so we can get some more people here, because I'm going to drop some serious fire here today. So here's what social media hasn't done for me. I don't have a yacht. Okay. I don't have a Rolls Royce. I don't have multiple mansions. I'm not a multi-millionaire. I'm not featured on, a bunch of podcasts. I'm not on the cover of any magazines. People don't reach out to me all the time to speak on their stages and things like that. But what has happened as a result of this is I have a thriving business that creates all the freedom in the world for me, as well as makes me, fairly financially successful. I actually have 2 businesses like that, a marketing agency and a coaching agency now. Most of the business that I generate is from my social media and inbound presence. I have generated millions of dollars for myself and my family throughout the years. And I've done this for several recruiting agencies as well, is help them implement social media strategies to win. So if you're looking for, the flashy guy, the guy who's been on the magazines, the guy who, has the Rolls Royce, I'm not him. Okay. But if you're looking to see how just another average person like you wins with social media, stay tuned. Okay. Because that's exactly what I helped Brandon McGill do, is his social media presence doubled his revenue from over, from 250 to over 500K. Tom Caravella's added 7 figures because of his social media presence. Ann Bedford has added 6 figures with her brand new search company that she launched in addition to her staffing firm. So right away, just from her social media presence, she was able to return 6 figures. And the list goes on and on. And perhaps one of the biggest ones was a 10-figure company I'm working with down in Houston that has tried multiple different social media companies. And our most recent work with them, they said, is the most clear return on investment. So all I'm saying, all of this is so you guys understand that what I'm about to share with you today is not some ideas. It's not theory. It's not, this is what's working and how recruiting firms and executive search firms are winning right now as a result of their social media presence. Okay. So let's talk about this for a second and get in. So here's what they're not doing. Let's talk about that first. Okay. They're not trying to win on social media, meaning they're not coming out and posting with the intent of an inbound lead. They're coming out and posting with the intent of adding value. Okay. They're not focused on vanity metrics. They're not focused on their followers. They're not focused on their likes. They're not focused on, getting a bunch of engagement and comments. They're not focused on validation. They're playing a bigger game than that. They're not self-promoting. They don't sit around and talk about how great they are all day long. They don't talk about how their businesses are great. They're definitely not doing that. They're not entertaining either. I keep on hearing all this stuff. You got to be entertaining. My clients aren't entertaining. Sorry, they're just not. We don't teach that, and we still generate inbound leads. So you don't need to be entertaining if you don't want to be entertaining. Okay. They're not virtue signaling. They're not just going out there, again, trying to pad their stats with likes by saying, oh, remote work's here to stay. Great job. Hey, all talent is good talent. A bunch of things that don't matter, that they're not actually doing work. Hey, nothing warms my heart more than seeing a recruiter getting a job here on LinkedIn when they've actually done absolutely nothing to help support that type of an effort. So told you I'm a little bit on a rant today. I'm a little bit on fire, and I can't stand some of the things that I see out there with content. Okay. None of my clients have massive budgets. They don't have fancy studio setups. They are committed to the long game. Okay. We're going to talk about what they're doing really well, but they're not just viewing social media as something like a box to check. Okay. So they're not just posting jobs and saying, hey, exciting new opportunity in Dallas for a controller. They're doing a little bit more than that. They're not just sharing articles and checking the box and saying, yep, I got my social media job done for the day. I shared my article. And they're not seeking validation from other recruiters. They're not bad mouthing their clients or their candidates. They're not doing a bunch of things that are just getting a lot of likes and comments. So when you see a lot of recruiters, and if you want to see who's successful amongst your peers, go check out who's engaging with their stuff. Go see who's liking it. If you're a recruiter and you're getting a bunch of other likes from a bunch of other recruiters, chances are you're not moving the financial needle. I'm not saying that's a universal statement, but most cases it's true. So they're not underestimating the value of what this can do for them. They are completely bought in. Okay. So here's why, if you are not fully bought into social media yet for your recruiting firm, here's why you should be fully bought in. Because you have a massive opportunity to reach way more passive candidates in the marketplace, and you can reach more top tier clients globally. Social media isn't just, when you're posting, it doesn't just go to your network. It can go to your network and beyond. It also, when you post, it doesn't just live for 5 minutes. It lives forever. Okay. So it massively extends your reach. And one of the biggest challenges that any small business faces, but specifically staffing and recruiting firms, is just obscurity. Is there enough people in your market know that you exist to help them? Social media is one of the greatest things to drive it. It's also one of those things that when you do that activity in the morning, it basically goes to work for you all day long while you're focused on other revenue generating activities in your company or leading your team and things like that. So the other things is like, well, what do you really want? Well, we want to make faster placements. So, social media gets faster placements because it improves the response rates from your candidate outreach, especially when you have a very targeted network with a very targeted market. Then this is really where this can become wildfire. So a lot of times we look at social media as just generating the inbound lead. What is that activity going to do in terms of like that one action? But it actually impacts so much more of your organization. Obviously, you're going to get increased referrals as a result of this. And you're going to get increased inbound leads. Okay. And then ultimately what social media does is it puts you into a category by yourself. It allows you to separate and differentiate yourself from other recruiting firms. So rather than telling you why you should do something, or how you're good. You just show people what they should do and how you're good. And that's where we start to generate the inbound lead. Okay. But ultimately, if we cut through all of it, social media and building out a strong strategy is going to increase your revenue. It's done it for me, it's done it for my clients, and it's done this exact way that I'm about to share with you. Okay. So, what we do is what you want to do to have an effective winning social media strategy that's going to not just give you a dopamine rush every day, but it's actually going to generate revenue is first and foremost, you need to be committed to the long game. Okay. That's the number one thing that my clients do is they're committed to the long game. They're not looking to come in and post, social media and see wins right away. I saw somebody else in the LinkedIn world the other day. It's kind of irritating talking about, oh yeah, no, if you see people posting on social media, you can win right away. And it's like, yeah, you might be able to win right away once or twice, but setting up the expectation that there's just these magical formulas for posting that are going to generate a bunch of leads is just stupid. And you shouldn't follow people like that. If you're doing social media marketing, and anybody that's has a pulse and has been around this game for a while with organic marketing knows that it's consistency that takes the cake. How you win. There's not these magical formulas and magical posts. Like, yeah, there's certain tactical things that you can do, but that is not going to help you, with the overall winning this game. Okay. So my clients, and what you want to do is be focused on the long game and being consistent. And that ultimately means you're focused on building a brand presence. Okay. Now, firms that with a strong social media presence see a 50% increase in their client inquiries. Okay. So that's the number one way that social media is impacting my clients specifically is they're getting inbound leads from their actual clients, as well as the other benefits that I mentioned. But they're getting people reaching out to them with open job opportunities and searches, which means that they don't have to, compete with a bunch of other people in their smile and dial approach. Okay. And they're getting a much better qualified client as a result of that. Okay. Their content strategy is not about them, so to speak. Okay. And I think this is a big thing. When you're promoting yourself, you're selling. Okay. When you're educating and adding value, you're marketing. It's like a simple way that I do that. I don't know if that's formal in any book or any way, but that's just the way I try to think about it. So how do you create engaging content without feeling like you have to be some entertainer or anything like that? Well, the first thing you do is you look at content that can lead your market. What are the industry trends? What's happening right now? What is the strong news out there? What is the bold things that you can plant your flag on specifically around your industry? And that should focus. And if you do this right, here's the key, is you're calling out your target market. You're helping them identify where their bottlenecks are, for example, with hiring sales talent. Okay. You're going to provide solutions for that with your content. But ultimately, the goal here, what you want to walk away with this, is that you're positioning yourself as being the ultimate solution to solve that problem with the content that you're creating. So that's what it looks like to lead, is talking about your industry trends, their mistakes, problems, frustrations, providing solutions for them so they can see that you understand them in their day in hell better than they do. Okay. Now, a part of this is establishing your track record of success. Why should I listen to you? Okay. Why should I listen to you other than, everybody else that's on LinkedIn, for example? Well, I have a proven track record of success. So a big part of me coming in and stating some of the things I stated right out of the gate is not so I can brag about myself. It's so that when you're listening to this, that this is proven, that this is what it is. This is what's working in my world. Okay. You don't need to second guess it. This is it. Right. And so you want to be able to do the same thing. So sharing and showcasing client and candidate testimonials is going to be incredibly powerful for you guys. Showcasing your open jobs, but in a more modern approach. Don't just say exciting new opportunity, like get a graphic and do some branding, and not from the idea of like, oh, I'm going to attract top talent, but from the idea that I'm building a brand and focus on my brand presence. And that's kind of the leadership category. The next would be the service category. Okay. So how can you serve your market? Right now, I don't know, some industries are really hot, some aren't, right? So if your industry is not hot, like I would be all into adding value and planting seeds of goodwill so that when the market turns, you become the obvious choice, to support their efforts with hiring and recruiting. So what are the things, what are the tips, tricks, value, how-tos, busting myths? What can you do right now to add a tremendous amount of value to your prospective clients and candidates? And I'm going to stop right now. If you're enjoying this, go ahead and touch that like button. Go in the comments and let me know, are you using social media right now? Have you won from it? Are you adding value, and what kind of value? Okay. And the last one that really works, and this is important, is the connection piece. And this isn't so much of a connection of like a self-promotion as, I'm great, but more of a connection of like, here's who I am. And transparency and authenticity is so important nowadays. As you scroll your LinkedIn feed, look at how many people are out there trying to add advice and add value and do some of these things that I'm doing. And that's why it's important that you have all three of these elements, because if you just show up and try to lead your audience all day long, you're probably not going to connect with them very well. Okay. If you're just trying to lead your audience, but not add value to them, they're going to find you maybe to be pushy. But the connection piece is so important to really transparently showing up for your audience. Okay. It's so important to showcase a little bit about you. And if you go to my LinkedIn profile, you can see an example of this. I just posted Monday about my experience snowboarding. And what I do is I usually take a personal thing that I'm doing and then turn a story or analogy into that, so that people can see what I'm doing and what I'm about, a little bit about my personality, but also it's appropriate for LinkedIn, whoever the bosses are of that, whoever the LinkedIn gods are that say you shouldn't post personal content on there. I can only tell you that all the creators that I see, people that are way beyond me, all do this. So I do it, others do it. It's the way to go. So there's your engaging content strategy. You lead your market, you connect with your market, and you serve your market by adding value. Okay. Now, this stuff, like I said, isn't just about clients or candidates. There's not a magical formula of like, oh, I got to post one video, for clients this week, and then 4 more that are more candidate focused. It's like, where's the need in your business right now, and what can you do that's congruently supporting that? So if you're a little bit more heads down on filling roles right now, then what can you do with your social media to support that effort? If you're heads down trying to attract new clients right now, what can you do for social media to support that effort? Because what you want to do is not just be there. You need to be bold. You need to have a presence. You need to stand out. You need to put flags in the ground. So if you haven't really been bold yet, if you haven't really stated a true opinion that might ruffle some feathers, then don't expect, a ton from that. It's like me coming on here and saying, hey guys, I really think you should cold call a lot and you should do social media. No, I think cold calling from a business development standpoint is probably the worst, most wasted time activity anybody can do in 2024. I'm not saying it doesn't work. I just don't believe in it. I would never do it myself. I think there's better ways to grow a business. That's me putting my flag in the ground, telling you not to waste your time cold calling for client development. Doesn't mean not being on the phone, but making a 100% cold call in 2024 is a colossal waste of time. What you should do is take your time, energy, and effort to become an expert at building a brand online and social selling, because that's the way of the future. Okay. That's me boldly telling you what I think. That's also me boldly telling you what has worked for me. I'm not telling you to do something that hasn't worked. This is what worked for me. Okay. So what are you doing? What are you saying out there boldly to capture attention from your market that's out there? And, just sharing open job positions isn't going to be enough to cut through the noise and capture attention. And that comes back into like, well, why are you doing this? Are you doing this because somebody online like Donnie told you that you need to start having a social media strategy? Is this just another box you're trying to check in your business? For me, I'm trying to make an impact. I want people to watch a training like this, walk away with a nugget, and go execute and implement it. It makes me happy when people send me messages specifically about my training, even if they've never worked with me before, but find value in the things that I'm doing. It's something I love to do to make an impact. So why would you be on social media? What are you trying to do? Yeah, well, let's not fool ourselves. I'm going to do this meeting and hopefully you guys find some value and somebody books an appointment and somebody becomes a client. Yeah, that's a part of this whole game too. Okay, but I'm not leading with that. That's not why I'm showing up today. I'm showing up today to really lead my market and add a bunch of value and share with you guys what's winning right now, because I know a lot of people are struggling. Okay. But if you're being soft with your content and you're trying to be liked, Nobody remembers the person that's likable. Try to be respected with your content. That should be the goal. Okay. I just had a client this past week, last week actually, posted his very first video. He went through my entire program, went through the whole 6 months, didn't post a single video. And he was waiting and he was really wanted to do it right, really wanted to, make something bold. And he went out and he planted his flag on his first video talking about how a company in his sector was treating their employees. And it was bold and he captured a lot of attention, but the attention was good. He's gotten, last I checked in, 3 client meeting inquiries off of one video, over 150 new connections, and people reaching out left and right to him that are passive candidates because he threw his flag in the ground. Okay. So if you've been at this for a while, but you haven't thrown your flag in the ground, then don't expect a whole lot. You're just going to be a part of the noise, and the whole thing is cutting through the noise. And one of the best ways to help you cut through the noise is to be leveraged. Okay. And showing up more often and showing up in ways that are in different formats. So what do I mean by this? Well, if you pay attention, this video that I'm creating here, which is more of a longer training video, I will take, and this video will get spliced up and I'll cut up and I'll have a bunch of marketable videos from this. So that's one way that I leverage myself, is I can literally take just this 20-30 minute training and I would have enough content for me for the whole entire week. Okay. But then it goes another level is I have a team in place, because my zone of genius is not in the technical parts of content creation or the design elements of content creation. It's the actual, psychology and the actual content that I'm creating was where I'm good. And so my team will take a video like this, and then they'll create LinkedIn graphics and slideshows and written posts. Okay. So the different various formats, because people consume content differently: video, written, audio, showing up in multiple different ways, in ways that you're leveraged. One of the great tools that's out there is repurpose.io. If you're, creating content, you can use repurpose to simply, repurpose content, from one platform to the next. That's going to be your basic, easiest way to get something like this started. Okay. But the focus of leverage is so important when you're doing this, especially if you're a recruiter or a search firm owner right here. The number one objection I always get is, well, I don't have enough time to do that. Well, yeah. So you might as well, you don't have a choice anymore in 2024. If you're serious about growing your business and not being owned by it by 24 hours and 80 hours a week of just pure outreach. That's one way of doing it. But doing this, and having ways to leverage yourself and leveraging your team and repurposing and taking advantage and making the most out of every piece of content and strategically carving out the time in the morning to do this is where it's at. And the challenge, what you're going to have to do is put yourself through that place where, some people can win right away, and some people can post for a couple months and not win. And understanding that just because if you post for a couple months and you don't win, you're not necessarily doing something wrong. In some cases you are, right? Nothing is true universally, but, having a clear path and a clear plan that works and wins is exactly why my clients work with me. So, if you're watching me right now and, you're really looking to grow your recruiting firm and looking for more modern, better ways to engage with both clients and candidates, and you're trying to make sure that if you have social media efforts that they're actually working, I would encourage you to, take a look at the Relevant Recruiter program. Okay. We help you identify a very specific target audience. We help you stand out from the competition in this audience, so you don't have to always compete on your next fee agreement. And so you don't have to be working and competing against multiple recruiters on one single role. We can kind of create, the business model, whatever you're using: retain, contain, contingent, exclusive. The bottom line is you don't want to be viewed like another recruiter. And that's what we do in the first element of the Relevant Recruiter program, is get you to stand out from the marketplace. From there, the number one thing that's important is audience. We talked about this earlier in this training, which is, obscurity is our biggest challenge. Is there enough people that know us in this marketplace that can support us and help us win? So obscurity is a challenge. And what we do is help you build a strategic audience. And then we help you create meaningful conversations with that audience without spamming their email and LinkedIn inboxes. Okay. We don't have to send a bunch of spammy messages in 2024 to win. Should we leverage automation? 100%. But there's a nice way of doing this so that you can grow your recruiting business. But the bottom line is we build that audience, because if you take the time to create all of that content without an audience, you're going to get crickets. Okay. So the next thing we do in the Relevant Recruiter program is we help you build out an entire social media and content strategy that is designed to capture the attention of your ideal client and candidates, and ultimately get them to view you as the authority and generate an inbound lead. Okay. From that, we've done this successfully now with over 300 recruiting firms, specifically in this Relevant Recruiter program. Okay. And what this allows you to do in the program is what we're focused on is helping you stay in your zone of genius, being the expert recruiter, while we're still building these other elements to help you grow your business, increase your revenue. Okay. Now, this is the exact system that I've used to grow my business. This is the exact system that my clients have used to add 6 figures, multiple 6 figures, and even some of them 7 figures to their bottom line. And they're doing all of this without being owned by their business, without making a bunch of outbound calls. Yeah, my clients don't make a bunch of outbound calls. They don't have to do a bunch of spammy, email automations with 1,500 different domains to set up. Just to grab that one meeting, that's going to show that you're desperate. If this sounds interesting to you, then what I want to encourage you to do is just book a call. On this call, we're going to dive into where your recruiting business is. And if we can help, we'll explain exactly how this Relevant Recruiter system will be a fit for your business. I think this call is a no-brainer because, at the end of the day, I'm going to add a ton of value, get you clarity on the next action steps that you'll take. And, if the call sucked for whatever reason, then guess what? You walk away and 30 minutes of your life you don't get back. Darn. But the best case scenario is you get all the systems you need to grow your recruiting business. So there's literally no risk in this. So if you're watching right now, go ahead, grab a time on my calendar through my profile, drop a me below, drop a comment, send me a direct message, however you want to get in touch with me, reach out so you can grab a call. And like I said, it'll be the most valuable call that you do this year for your recruiting business. Glenn Rosenstein is here. He's one of my former clients. You can see for him, it's working for him. He's been through the program. He's gotten success from content as well as through his messaging strategies. But if you're with me right now and you're with me live, make sure to book a call. There's absolutely no risk for you. Take your business and grab it by the horns and let's go win in 2024. If you enjoyed this video and you found value, tap a like, go in the comments, let me know what your number one takeaway is. This is Donnie Gupton. Here's my reminder. Don't be like the next recruiter. Don't be the one that's smiling dialing. Don't be the one that's pounding the phones. Don't be the one virtue signaling on LinkedIn. Don't be the one chasing likes and comments. And don't be the one waiting for the perfect moment for you to do all of these. You're ready to go right now where you're at. Reach out.